I do not solve the same problems as you. So I just have naive ideas listening to you like, well, obviously you have to bake into the cost. And I'm sure there's another psychological component of how you communicate this to customers would massively affect what you could charge. I'd love to hear, like, how do you crack this nut?
Unfortunately, for our industry or for our listeners, I believe that pricing and packaging is becoming like products. It is never static, especially if you have AI and, with all the rapid changes, every week a new LLM comes out. You need to be prepared to iterate, test, improve, like test, iterate, improve, learn, and vice versa, and like continue that. And pricing is no longer something that is static.
Roee, welcome to Product Growth Stories. So happy to have you on the show. So you're a senior consultant at Willingness to Pay. And I'd love to hear a little bit about, like, what is the problem exactly that you're solving?
Pricing and packaging.
Pricing and packaging. Yeah. And like, this is a huge, hairy problem for most companies, like very scary to mess with something super core to the offer, like, and could affect demand. So can we dive in? I'd love to dive into a little bit how, like, typically when somebody comes in to work with you, what are the pricing and packaging problems that you see that they don't even realize that they have?
So in a lot of cases, they do realize that they have a problem. They
Yeah.
don't understand how to fix it. They might not know the core reason, but they know that they have a problem. Some of the problems are classical. Yeah, we think we're underpriced. We don't know. We feel that we're leaving money on the table. We're not really capturing the value. In some cases, it might sound like, hey, we've launched our product like 7 years ago. We never really updated pricing and packaging. We're just focused on growth and sales and product. Now it's time that we spend some time because there's so much potential there. Usually, we haven't updated our pricing, but we have created so much new features and provided so much new value. And we have customers 5 years with us. We never increased pricing. Nowadays, it's becoming more and more common that age of AI, everybody wants to add some sort of AI component. And that's usually where we spend most of our time with our customers trying to get that part right.
Like how to charge or how to appropriately price for the additional value that you're bringing with AI features?
I would say even the problem is even more severe than that, because classical SaaS, before we had AI, the cost to serve a customer was practically zero.
Yeah.
Meaning
the good old days.
the good old days, right? Like just top line revenue, what was important. Cost to serve is practically zero. Our margins anywhere between 70 to 95%. Yeah, that's how the market worked. And now we're in the age of AI. And we all know that the age of AI doesn't, like, it costs real money. So all of a sudden, the entire unit economics and our cost structure completely change, because it's no longer zero to serve the next customer. It comes with a cost. If we don't price our products correctly, then we're just going into that marginal spiral, and can get spiral out of control.
Start cutting into the margins, and suddenly all the business problems become difficult to solve.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't throw money at things anymore. Yes. So you're saying people are really dealing with, like, what do we do with, like, variable token costs with these features that we're implementing, and some things that you might do with AI, I'm sure everyone in SaaS knows, end up being extraordinarily expensive. It can be, if you have a very complex workflow that you're trying to, especially when it's earlier stage, you might not know precisely the cost, but it could be quite high, right?
And you might not know the cost. Different users might cost you differently, because I ask one I interact with Claude one way, you might interact with Claude another way. I might wake up in the morning and do the deep Excel financial modeling, and during a night I asked it, what is the best restaurant around town, right? So each one comes with a different cost. How do we predict? And it all comes back to the fact that we need to put in the right price points, right packaging, and also right feature fair use policy in place to make sure that, we don't start to lose money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Once you learn how to do much longer running tasks, you can find surprise API bills, it's 10K. I didn't realize when I hit enter that was going to happen.
I have a client right now, and they're an AI company.
Mm-hmm.
They're tracking their cost in real time. And it was amazing. We started to work beginning of April, and the cost just skyrocketed because fantastic. Everybody loved it. Their product was so good.
Yeah.
Everybody started using it. They didn't
Yes.
predict that's going to be the usage pattern. And when you think of it, in SaaS, our best customers were the ones that used our product the most.
That's what you want.
Remember,
Yeah. Feature
how many
retention and
logins?
yeah.
How many logins and how much hours are you spending on my platform? And that indicated a very healthy account. All of a sudden, that's not. Maybe we don't want customers that are spending so much tokens and time on our platform.
Yeah. Unless you charge for it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So how do you solve this problem? Because I do not solve the same problems as you. So I just have naive ideas listening to you like, well, obviously you have to bake into the cost. And I'm sure there's another psychological component of how you communicate this to customers would massively affect what you could charge. I'd love to hear like, how do you crack this nut?
Yeah. First of all, put the right guardrails, because usually not all users are the same or all customers are the same. Some use it much more than we intended. Some exactly that. So there's always like that hockey stick effect. We want to cap the very strong users or the users that use this the most.
Yeah.
We need to make sure that our pricing correlates to the cost. Right? It's no longer about the classical SaaS. Doesn't matter how much you charge, cost is zero, but you need to make sure that the more usage, the more cost, the more the price increases. That's used in a nutshell. It's much more complicated than that, but that's like the two main points that, yeah.
And do you find do you also get into how you communicate the value of those features? Because I know for like some clients, right, for some customer segments, if you position the problem or the solution correctly, they might not care what it costs anymore.
That's right.
Within some, for some things, if something is 10K or 20K, it's like the same to me. As long as it's done, I'm good, And I'm sure that there are, how does that come into play and how so?
So that by itself is not different than classical B2B SaaS pricing. Because B2B, unlike B2C, we're talking about value. It's all about value selling, value pricing. And if there is value, then I don't care if I have a $1 million problem. I don't care if you charge me 20 or 30 or 50K. Like the value is there.
It's great. Yeah.
Right? So it's the same thing. In pricing, however, with AI, there's also a difference because what are you charging on? So if you're very vertical, niche focused, for example, FinAI, they do ticket sales support. For them, it's clear. Like you close a ticket, the outcome, back to outcome-based pricing. The outcome is clear. You can charge on that. That's very vertical, niche. You understand the outcome. It's clear. OpenAI, ChatGPT, they're a horizontal solution. I might use it to do financial modeling in Excel. My father, who plays around with, she asks it some history questions and just like classical things that you can find on Google.
Yeah.
The value is completely different.
French toast recipe.
Exactly. How can OpenAI charge me the same, which they do, by the way, how they charge me the same as my father? Yeah. So this is where it gets complicated. And by the way, the topics that we're discussing, the rules and playbooks are just being written as we speak. Because if you think about it, I'm assuming you're a Claude user.
Yes, I have all the things.
In the last 6 weeks, changed their pricing and packaging and fair usage policy. Every week, they're coming up with something new.
Yeah.
They're testing, iterate. So if the best companies in the world, and same goes for OpenAI and Salesforce with AI solution, etc. If the best companies in the world are testing, iterating, etc., they haven't figured it out, and we're also trying to figure out and learn what this new technology and capabilities can get. How that affects our pricing and our general go-to-market strategy.
Love it. And when we look at, when I look at your TAM, right? So you're obviously smaller companies are not going to be able to make good use of your services, right? It's going to be a little bit larger players, but I feel like probably everybody could benefit. I mean, not everyone knows they have a huge pricing problem, but how many companies have gone through this exercise with that, like the same level of diligence? There's probably a good
Mhm.
lift that many people could have if they could appropriately price. Do you think that's fair to say, or is it really just if you've let it kind of sit there?
It's fair to say, but let's start off. When you're starting as a new company, you're testing out. You really don't know what's the value that you're providing. Your product keeps on changing, pivoting, testing new markets, new segments, etc. At that point, there's nothing really to standardize in terms of pricing and packaging. So my advice is just test it out. Do different bill or price differently for different use cases, different customers, until you start building that repeatable process. Some say call it go to market fit. All right. So you start to have customers, they start to see the similar values, and then you can actually start to focus on pricing and packaging.
Makes sense. Yeah, you have to have that initial testing in place. So I'd love to hear, because your firm has been around for a while, how did you get started? Like, how did you find your first customers versus like, how are you growing today?
Yeah. So probably like most of our listeners, I started off as software sales. I've done that for 15 years. And then I went into last company, ran out of money. And then I went into general go-to-market strategy consulting. So let's build the right strategy, maybe sales processes. How do we combine outbound versus the sales process, adding marketing, et cetera, et cetera. After doing it for 4 years, I came to the conclusion that the biggest growth lever we have as commercial organization is getting the pricing and packaging right. In most cases, it's quickest and has the biggest ROI. And I've seen companies that no matter how much we build a fantastic sales process, if the packaging doesn't work, it adds friction and you can't close deal or you're leaving money on the table. But if you do it correctly, then renewals get easier, sales process gets faster, ACV goes up, et cetera, et cetera. So I think I decided to focus on pricing and packaging because if you get that correct, well, you have to get that correct in order for everything else to just flow.
Yeah. This is so specific and I can see how you came up with this line of reasoning. It's very similar to saying the offer is the most important, but you're not just saying the offer. It's like a part of the offer. It's very specific, just the part about pricing the offer. So I love it. I mean, I was trying to think, is that true? Is it really the most highest lever? It's either what you said or retention. Those are like the two, like right up to the edge of, okay, now we have a price on this offer, or it's how long can we keep this recurring. Yeah.
So first of all, I can fix retention with not every retention. You have to have a good product that delivers value.
That's true.
If you don't have that, that's the baseline. If you don't
can't
have
solve that one.
all the rest, nothing. But with the right pricing and packaging, you can fix retention as well.
Oh, tell me how to do this. The only thing I figured out is maximum price does not help you with retention. This is something I've learned over time, but I'd love to hear this. How does that work in general?
So when you think of it, when companies churn, it's because the value that they're getting does not match the price that they're paying for it.
Yeah.
And then
perceived value.
Perceived value.
Yeah.
Right. And in a lot of cases, in the good old days where I did general go-to-market consulting, it's okay, how do we increase the value to match what they're paying? But first of all, let's look at packaging. Do we have the right packages to serve the different jobs to be done, the different challenges and pain points our customers have? In a lot of cases, it doesn't. Like we have different features and we feel that we're paying, we're not using those features, we're overpriced, etc. So that's in terms of packaging. And then how do we price? Maybe some cases, the jobs to be done, the value is not as high as we thought about. So maybe we can lower that. And of course, vice versa. And on top of that, you add the general, value selling, etc.
The thing that I was really paying attention, and the thing that caught my attention there was, it sounds like you're trying to connect things to outcomes. And that's what I heard in there, that if the jobs to be done has a specific, like this has to happen, that's what we're attaching the packaging too. Like this outcome, this is what you're paying for. The thing you want is what you're buying, not features.
Give you an example. I'm
Yes.
currently working with a client. They have 22% churn rate. It's because their biggest competitor in the market is, basically increasing market share on their behalf. And we came to the conclusion the competitor is one of the bigger companies out there. They not only sell what my customer is offering, but they sell an entire bundle. There's not much that we could do there. One of the things that we said, however, is there a play that we would not lose the client altogether because there are components that the big competitor does not deliver. So maybe we can retain the logo, create a new bundle, a new package that serves only those things that they do not offer. And it's not a logo churn. It might be a downgrade, but we're still keeping
better
the logo,
than losing them.
Rather than losing them.
Yeah, that's a great example.
And that's the first play. The second play is, okay, how do we start to compete with the big player? Because we believe that we have a superior offering, and just because they're the biggest player and they have the ability to play with the unit economics and basically, in some cases, even give their solution for free because
go underwater for a
packages
while
on something. Yeah.
So
that's
these are
packaging,
fun problems. I love that. That was a great example. Thank you. And so as we wrap up, if you could give one piece of advice to business owners today around pricing and packaging, what would that be? What would your number one advice be for them in 2026? We're all dealing with AI and the future changing every week. What would you say?
Yeah. So again, unfortunately for our industry or for our listeners, I believe that pricing and packaging is becoming like products. It is never static, especially if you have AI and, with all the rapid changes every week, a new LLM comes out. You need to be prepared to iterate, test, improve, test, iterate, improve, learn, and vice versa, and continue that. And pricing is no longer something that is static, unfortunately.
Okay, I can't help myself. One follow-up on that one, which is I'm just thinking about some companies that I work with and, where we're scaling some additional channel. That's what I do. And maybe we're installing a better sales motion. It's so hard to get a team to adopt even just a new standard. And what you're describing is almost like high-level R&D team is able to try this out, which would mean really you have to have a very comfortable sales team to do that. How do you get organizations to change that quickly or have a team that can iterate this fast without, just being afraid of what it means for their commissions or, all these other possible negative consequences?
How much time do we have?
Yeah, it's a harder one.
Yeah, I like change management, right? That's a discipline by itself.
Yeah.
Listen, it's an understanding. Organization needs to understand, in product, we understand agile, vibe coding, all of that. Let's launch something that is not 100% baked. Let's get feedback from the market, test, iterate. We know that. Marketing, the same thing. Let's create a campaign, learn from that.
I don't feel like sales knows this yet.
Maybe. But when you think of it, pricing and packaging is not only a sales problem.
Yeah, that's true.
It touches all the disciplines, right? It's products because the way we package and what we're doing, affects the product roadmap. It touches operations and finance because, how much we charge, what's the billing cycle, all of that. Sales, of course, but you're right. I think the sales team is the least agile team that we have in our organization right now.
At least that's what I see. Yeah. Fun times are coming. Well, thank you so much. It's a great conversation. I really appreciate it.
Fantastic. Thank you for having me.
Pleasure.